What celebrity death was the most unexpected? Any sudden one like Kobe Bryant and Paul Walker, but emo Chris Cornell taking his own life came as a great shock to me. It never occurred to me that a man with such a successful and great music career could feel that way in his 50s. I was at Soundgarden show in Detroit that night. The whole thing felt surreal. You just watched him perform Slaves, Bulldozers, then he's gone about an hour later. Plenty of sudden losses in the music industry have blown my mind. Taylor Hawkins' sudden passing was such a shock, it was surreal, and it was a total gut punch losing Dimebag Darrell the horrifying way we did, but Chris passing absolutely wrecked me in a way I hadn't felt since Freddie Mercury passed. I was not expecting David Bowie. He died like the same day as an album release and didn't tell the world he was sick. I named my cat Bowie that year. He died 2 days after the release of Black Star. It gives the album a whole new meaning. There was quite a funny misunderstanding on the British version of Big Brother. They had on Angela Bowie and David Guest. David Guest got the flu and laid down. Then David Bowie died and they called Angela into the diary room and told her. She came back out and told everyone David had died, but they all thought she meant David Guest. They checked on him and he was very much alive and they didn't appreciate her sick joke. David might have enjoyed all that back and forth. Brittany Murphy. Yeah, I'm still shocked about this. And just why? Philip Seymour Hoffman thought he was a fabulous actor. He was great and seemingly had a lot more to give. Sad stuff. Remember, kids, if you are a long-time drug user who got clean and end up relapsing, your body can't handle the size of the dose you took before getting sober. That's how you are. John Ritter. I remember when 8 Simple Rules aired that episode where he died. Such a sad episode. I was much younger at that time, and it was so hard to recover from. The two that surprised me the most were Taylor Hawkins and Grant Imahara. We had tickets to see our first Foo Fighters show last summer. My husband and I decided to go because we'd heard over and over again that they were amazing live. A recent one was Leslie Jordan. Well, hello, fellow hunker donors. Same. Such a funny, genuine sweetheart of a man. I'm happy that he was having such a bright time in his career and frankly, that a tiny gay kid from Tennessee made it big. He deserved it. Phil Hartman, a little further back. At the time, I was a tremendous fan and found it difficult to accept the news. Hell, that still makes me so depressed. I am Troy McClure, and you might remember me from such self-help films as Smoke Yourself Thin and Get Confident Stupid. It broke my heart, especially because his wife murdered him. Grant Imahara. This is the only celebrity death where I actually gasped and felt my stomach drop. It was just so unexpected since he seemed healthy and young. Deaf this. Bourdain probably stung the most for me, but Grant was deaf a surprise. Naya Rivera. I was never a fan of Glee or Naya Rivera, but the way she died is so beyond tragic, making the ultimate sacrifice to save her little boy. Hers is one of the few celebrity deaths that has stayed with me. I was glued to the TV and internet that day. I held out so much hope, even though I knew from the time it was announced that she was missing what the end result would be. This one hit me. The ultimate love of a mother for her child. For those who do not know, she saved her child from drowning, but then drowned after she got him in the boat. Norm MacDonald edit. Apparently a few hundred of you didn't even know he was sick. I was really shocked by Robin Williams and Alan Rickman. Alan Rickman is mine for sure. Just out of nowhere. Dead, had cancer, that's it. I sometimes forget Alan Rickman is dead. Same with Leonard Nimoy, and then just get sad over it. I'm still not over Robin Williams' death. I loved his humor so much. And left I just a few months later. Anton Yelchin. The fact that he had cystic fibrosis too, for some reason, makes it so much sadder, even though it wasn't connected to his death. Life really fricked this man. Great documentary put out by his parents. Only child. They are devastated. Oh yeah, that one was a shock. And it was just a horrifically sad accident. He was an amazing performer. I came here to say this. I was a massive fan of his and still am. I went to search him up to see if he had any more movies out, and it was announced that he had just died. I really thought that it was a hoax. Chadwick Boseman was going on about my life and saw an article that he had passed due to cancer. I was starstruck. I was like, what? He had cancer. He died. Probably one of the most confused times of my life. Rip Chadwick. And the poor man was receiving criticism in the near last few times of his life due to how skinny he was. What a cruel world at times. Friendly reminder to all, there are cheap and easy ways to get screened for colon cancer. Ask your CPP about fit testing and be aware of your colon health. Colorectal cancer is one of the top beatable cancers if caught early. Jeff dudes out in public waving at people, then suddenly his head just fucking explodes. Doesn't get more unexpected than that. Yeah, that has to be number one for anyone who was alive then. Certainly any American. Absolute insanity. That video is so fucked. Grant Imahara was like a freight train of pain. This was the beginning of celebrities who are my age dying from something other than accidents, suicide, or the misuse of drugs. This is what getting old feels like. Fucking brain aneurysms can happen to anyone out of the blue for absolutely no reason other than simply existing. Came here to say this. I had been a fan of Mythbusters for years, and it just seemed so terrible that it happened to such a great guy. Bob Saget. Oh, dang. That surprised me a second time, Dage. Why I forgot. Trevor Moore. In recent memory, Helen McCrory. I'm a big Peaky Blinders fan, and it was shocking how she died within the filming period before season 6 released. She wasn't very old at all. George Michael on Christmas Day 2. No one saw that one coming. And then Carrie Fisher a few days later. 2016 was rough with celebrity deaths, right till the very end. Christina Grimmie, she was only 22. Lesser known, but Christina Grimmie, shot dead at 22 when signing autograph. Avicii. When I read he stabbed himself with a wine bottle he broke, I cried for hours. I was never a huge fan, but I know that level of loneliness and sadness. That just broke me for some reason, even though I never was super into his music. It's just so sad. Heath Ledger. That was seriously out of nowhere, and right after a huge blockbuster success. Actually, it's worse. He died in January 2008. The Dark Knight didn't come out to theaters till July. He never got to see how well received he was as the Joker. Cameron Boyce. I think this is especially true for the younger crowd. When child stars die, the whole target audience, many of whom haven't had to deal with death yet, mourns a kid. I know he was sick, but Alex Trebek really sucked. I kind of thought he would just live forever, and watching the last episodes where he would be tearing up at the thought of having to leave the show really got me in the feels. Chester Bennington. Keep him in your memory. Leave out all the rest. Mine is Chris. That was the immediate precursor to Chester. That whole week, Ish was awful. Editing because another commenter mentioned my off-timeline. My apologies. I meant that week after Chris died and Chester sang at his funeral. That was a rough week or so. Anthony Bourdain. This was the one that got me the most. He started off slaving in the kitchen to being able to travel the world and eat food and talk about life with people while being paid well to do it. At the same time, you realize how lonely it must have been for him to be away from the people he loved the most. He was by no means a saint either, and I recommend anyone to watch the documentary that was made on him. Dolores O'Riordan. Robin Williams. I remember waking up, opening Reddit and reading that Robin Williams had committed suicide. I had to scratch my eyes to make sure I read that right. His movies were my childhood. Yea, and I go back to the days when he came on the scene as Mork. I had never seen such a naturally uninhibited actor on TV. I was in the press box at a minor league baseball game when someone came in and said Robin Williams dies. It didn't even register to me that it was the actor. I figured it was some guy I didn't know. It took me a while to comprehend. Steve Irwin. And of all the things that wanted to kill him, a stingray was the one that succeeded. River Phoenix. Selena Quintanilla Perez. Before her murder, she got real famous in the States for Dreaming of You. I bought the seed, playing it over and over, singing and dancing along. Her music made me so happy. Afterwards, I would still listen, but would just cry endlessly. I never wanted vengeance on a person like I did with Yolanda. I was only 11 or 12.